Hey, I'm Furious Black. I wanted to give you guys a little play-by-play of how I got to the situation I'm at right this minute. Most of these videos, they're not for everybody. They're for me in the future to look back and see how I was thinking, and maybe I have given myself a message through the Most High that I would need at that time. But I've been learning about God for the last 15 years. I'm 30 now. And when it first started, it was who is it, why was it, and how did we get to this situation. I would just ask my friends, they were all mostly my age. I asked my mother, started looking into religions. And then one day, this particular people caught my attention. And it just so happened I recognized things that other people don't recognize. I see it, and it's kind of like a message or like confirmation. Is weird, but I would always ask these questions, and then I met these guys who taught me law, the law of man, the law of flesh, the law of being human. And people will call it a religion. People will say that it's fake because it alludes to a God or speaks of a God. But people don't see these things that I see. So I found the book of the law, and I went to classes for 3 years, focused in. This is all I was thinking about: the Bible, mankind, and how we got here. 3 things. And the first thing that came is how we got here, right? Some people think evolution, some people think creation, the story of creation. So then I was like, okay, well, I know how we got here, but there's no real details, like how did God do it, what did he use, what is he, what is she, how did this all come about? So then you're trying to fit in a thing, which is the Bible, into what you know, that was taught to you, not what you know, but what was taught to you as you was growing up. So you're looking at the two, and you're trying to figure out the balance between this religion that is prominent and billions of people follow it, which is out of these particular books. People follow it, but then at the same time they separate their life from that which is spiritual and want to be something contrary to that. So I'm always asking, well, why did we think in that standpoint? Why did we think that book is so fake and so untrue, and billions of people follow it, and then there's people that are trying to tell you not to follow it? It's like gatekeepers, people that don't want you to follow that particular thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you go to a club and there's a guy at the door that's like, hey, you're not allowed in. Hey, why? I don't gotta answer to you. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we're going through. The Bible is the club. The world is just the outside of that. And then you're wondering, well, how did I get outside of that club? All right, so we're gonna get to that later, like another video, whatever. Like, how did we get outside of religion? But this is just my thoughts on how I got to where I am today. I'll put videos of me 7 years ago thinking about these type of things, but not knowing how to explain it, how to tell you this is what the world is like. So I'm wondering those three things: how we got here, why we're here, and I just realized that the law gives man reason. Gives you reason. It gives you a sense of calling. It gives you a purpose. A purpose. So you just sit and then you get that. So now I'm like, well, who is this God that, or who is this, beginning where it is a big bang, or who is this God that created man? Boom. What are these two things? How do we weigh these two things? How do they matter in my life? How does it shape the way that I interact with fellow men? This is what the law is teaching you, right? This is what the law is teaching you. Common mind, common goals. This is what it's teaching you, right? That's what one side tells you. Then another side tells you you're alone. You're on a desert island. Don't worry about what the next guy is thinking. He doesn't care about you anyway. He has his own problems. This is what we're thinking. But then we don't take the time to cultivate these thoughts, because we get up, gotta go to work. Then we gotta pay bills. Then we have to eat. Then we have to sleep. If they occupy your time from thinking about the two choices that you were actually given in this world, if they gave you time, then you would realize which thing you should follow. Then you would realize. So I'm asking myself these things. And I'm saying, well, if all this is happening, how did we get to this point where we're at now? And what tells us this? And what are we actually looking at? The news, TV, television, cars, white versus black, wars, presidential situations, poor people, food, famine. What are we actually looking at? This is what you start to ask yourself. Now you've examined the both aspects of everything, the religious side and the world side. So then you say, we have natural disasters, people getting fat, people getting skinny, poor. I said that twice because I want to emphasize the lack of empathy that we have for one another. See, when you make yourself non-existent, when I say non-existent, I'm talking about you make the galaxy so big that it makes you like an ant. So now you think in your mind, hey, I'm an ant. What can I do to change anything? This is why it's so imperative that you examine what is actually coming at you. On TV, on the internet, the omens in your life, your belief system, the radio, the books you read. How does this all shape who you are? Sometimes we forget that we have all these wants and needs and desires. But we forget to really take in account and examine our own lives. And our own lives is not just me going to work and sitting down watching TV. My life consists of how I feel every day I'm outside of this work, outside of this house. What do I have to do? What am I going through? That's my life. Your life isn't what's inside your house. It's what is happening outside of your house. You work 40 to 60 hours a week. You're crazy tired. You're doing back-breaking work to support a system that is being controlled by those that you have never met. See, back in the day, we may not have met the king or talked to the king, but we seen the king and we felt that he was amongst us as one of us. That's what we felt like. Now, or you lived in the desert or the wilderness and you had your own home, you had your own sources of food because you hunted for what you wanted or you grew it, and you didn't care about no king. Do you see? You didn't care about any king. So this is what I was thinking about. All of these things, how did we get here? What are we doing? How is things happening? And this is my story. Like, I wanted to tell people this because I feel that you feel the same, but you don't know how to put it into words. And I might jump from here to here to here to here, but there's reasons that I do it. I don't know yet why I do it. Trust and believe. I ask God all the time, why do I do it? And maybe this is part of the practice. This is part of the practice to stay on topic. Maybe I should write it down. Maybe I shouldn't. But I tried to give it to you from how I feel and how I see things. And it might be sporadic, but I'm telling you, if you take pieces of it and you put it together, eventually you would see that it's a clear, streamlined thought. It might be jumbled up, but it's streamlined. I don't know. Maybe people will never understand it. Maybe people will never understand what they're actually looking at. And you can't hope to believe that. You can't hope in believing that. This is what life really is. So then I said, you know what? That book of the laws of man, of how to conduct ourselves, seems appetizing. Let's see where that takes me. I'm not going to say it was because I believed in Jesus, or I believed in we're the Israelites, or I believed in God. That wasn't my question. My question was how and why, and what are we doing here? That's my question. So when somebody tells me Jesus, okay, let's look into this guy. And then somebody tells me Allah, let's look into this guy. Historically, the good and the bad of this person. These people. That's the thought process. Both sides. You have to hear both sides, good and evil. This is what duality is. Everything in our life is duality. So you're going to get the good and the bad. Then you have the middle. And that's where I feel I specialize in, is looking down the middle. Because the left and the right, they're just opinions. They're just bias. It's just like if you have two witnesses. If you have two witnesses, two people, you separate them, right? This guy's going to tell you a particular story from his aspect. Then this guy's going to tell you his story from his aspect. This is the same thing with all books. When it comes to King James, and then who wrote about him? What did he write about himself? And what did people write about him? What did people that was on the right that liked him said? And what did the people on the left that didn't like him say? This is what history, this is what information is. You're getting both sides to make the right, to see the middle. That's what this is. You get what the religions are giving you, all of them, and then you get what the world is giving you, all of it. The TV, the radio, the news, the internet, the newspaper, what your friends say, what you're doing, where you're going, how you're living. This is what you, this is this side, this is this side. You can switch sides, it doesn't matter. They're both left and right, good and evil, right, wrong, wrong, right. You're choosing between the two of these things. But you don't understand it. God tells you you can't be hot or cold, lukewarm. Is he saying you can't speak the spiritualities that are conducted in the world? No, that's not what he said. He said there's a right way of living and then there's a wrong way of living. It's this simple. So this is what I'm asking myself. What am I really looking at? What am I really thinking? What is the world really thinking? What is this? Why is there houses? Why is there cars? Why is there animals? Why is there earth that's round or flat, moving or not moving? What is this dome? What is stars? What is the sun? How does it fly? How does it go through the sky? What is the moon? What did the ancestors say about it? What did the scientists say about it? This is what you're looking at. You can't tell? You can't tell. See, this is what the point is. This is what the point is. This is how I got to where I'm at now. Where I said, I'm not going to tell you and quote from books and say, hey, in this book it says this and this, and you're supposed to do this and this and this. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. So why would I do that? Because now I'm dictating how you should be, how you should think, how you should move. No, I'm going to tell you objectively what's on this side, what is on this side. You choose. That's it. I can't manipulate your free will. That's not part of being human. You know what impedes in your free will? When somebody tells you you have to work. You have to get their money. You have to go do their jobs. You have to be a citizen. That's impeding on your free will. When you say, no, I don't have to do anything. I can go this way and I can make my own decisions. That is free will. These things happen and people miss it. These things happen and people miss it. You can teach yourself. This thing is homeschooling and non-homeschooling, right? Before Israel started to realize who they were, or realizing what the possibilities may be, their potential, the wicked ones come and try to rock it low, sweep it under the ground, demolish it. That's what the ones that are in control do. So anyway, you teach yourself or you go to school, right? How do you teach yourself? The way I just told you. The way I just told you. Forming an opinion through the good and evil of all the things that you learn. It's that simple. What is school? School is indoctrinating you to believe what the masses believe. Now you're no longer a free thinker, but you're being manipulated into believing what others are telling you to believe. This is what school is. Yes, you can go learn from other people. That's not what I'm saying. You have to learn something in order to apply it so that you can teach others further down the line. So you need to learn. I'm sure that you're learning from me, and I'm going to learn from me in the future. This is how it works. But we don't think that it works like that, because we take these philosophical books and we make them either of value, too much value, where it holds more power than the intellect that I possess or you possess. See, your mind is the void. Your mind is the space. Right? That's where you are, in your mind. That's the space. It's called the void. And in there, you can put whatever you want in there, any type of information. But if you don't take the time to want to learn it yourself, and you think that you have learned everything, and you want to argue about everything, that's when you are trying to impose your free will. Or this is what it is. So I'm asking myself this all the time. Why do I think this way? Why do I want to move this way? Why can't I move this way? And who's stopping me? And what is it that I have to do to release myself from that which is plaguing me? So the questions start to become more advanced as I grow. First, you want to know where, how, what, why. Then when you learn that, then it's how do I fix whatever I see is wrong in my life and others, based off of the information that I receive. We play this game all the time, man. So, yo, with that, man, I'm Furious Black, and I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks.